These are Reddit's darkest conspiracy theories. Theory number 1. Squid Game shows what really goes on at elite gatherings. According to the theory, the TV show Squid Game is more than just a hit series. It's a peek behind a curtain that we were never meant to see. The idea is that the world's super rich have gotten so bored that they've created a real-life blood sport for their own entertainment, and it looks a lot like the show. They don't just pick players off the street. They find people who are truly desperate, the ones who have fallen through the cracks of society. Think of people with crippling debt, gambling addicts who have lost everything, or individuals who have simply vanished. These people are offered a chance at a fortune that could solve all their problems. But this offer of hope is just a way to lure them into the game. The real purpose is to put on a show for an audience of billionaires and world leaders who watch from a safe distance. It's believed these events happen in extremely remote and secret locations, places like private, uncharted islands, or deep underground bunkers built to survive a global apocalypse, all guarded by highly trained mercenaries. The spectators, much like the masked VIPs in the show, watch from luxury suites, placing massive bets on who will survive the next game. They treat human lives like poker chips. But the theory goes deeper than just sick entertainment. These games are also said to be a testing ground, a way for the elite to study human behavior under the most extreme pressure imaginable. They watch to see who breaks, who cheats, and who will do anything to survive. And what happens to the winner? Some believe they aren't always allowed to just walk away with the cash. The ones who prove to be the most ruthless and capable are sometimes forced to work for the elites as secret agents or assassins. The theory finishes by saying the TV show was intentionally made to hide this reality. Now that the idea is out there as fiction, if anyone ever tried to expose the real thing, they would be laughed at and called a copycat. It's the ultimate way to hide the truth in plain sight. Theory number 2. That they use the Epstein case to bury Pizzagate, and that Pizzagate is and was so much worse than Epstein. This theory claims that the whole Jeffrey Epstein scandal, while truly horrible, was actually a carefully managed smokescreen. Its main purpose was to kill a much bigger and more dangerous story that was gaining traction online, Pizzagate. The idea is that a powerful global network of traffickers saw that online investigators were getting too close to exposing them. So they needed a distraction, and Epstein was the perfect sacrifice. It all started back in 2016 with the hacked emails of John Podesta, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. People reading through the emails online noticed some very strange things. There was weird, repeated talk about pizza, cheese pizza, pasta, and hot dogs in emails that had nothing to do with food. The theory quickly developed that these were code words for horrible things. Pizza was code for a girl, cheese for a little girl, and so on. This trail led investigators to a pizza restaurant in Washington, D.C. called Comet Ping Pong. The owner was well connected in political circles, and the restaurant's social media was filled with bizarre and disturbing images, some featuring children, which just added more fuel to the fire. The theory says that just as Pizzagate was starting to catch on, the Epstein case was blown wide open. This gave the world a villain they could see and hate. It proved that powerful people were involved in child abuse, but it neatly contained the problem to one man and his famous friends. The news media focused entirely on Epstein, his island, and his Lolita Express plane. This gave the public someone to be angry at. At the same time, any mention of Pizzagate was aggressively shut down and labeled as fake news. The theory insists this was planned. By making the Epstein case so real and public, it made Pizzagate look like a silly fantasy. It distracted everyone and made them stop digging. The final act of this cover-up, according to the theory, was Epstein's death in his jail cell. He was the one person who could have named all the other powerful people involved, but he conveniently died before he could ever testify in court. With him gone, the biggest secrets were safe, and the larger network that Pizzagate was trying to expose could continue to operate in the shadows. Theory number 3. There are plans behind the Denver airport. This conspiracy theory says that the Denver International Airport isn't what it seems. While it looks like a normal, massive airport, Many believe it's actually a front for a massive secret project. The idea is that deep beneath the runways lies a huge bunker and command center built for a shadowy group, like the New World Order or the Illuminati, to use after the end of the world. The first clue people point to is the airport's incredible size. It's twice the size of Manhattan Island, and many question why it needed to be so big. During its construction, there were reports that several large buildings were fully built, and then for some reason, they were declared to be in the wrong spot, so they were just buried and new buildings were built on top of them. The theory suggests this was just a cover story for building a massive underground city. The airport also has a huge network of tunnels that were supposedly for a high-tech baggage system that never worked. Believers say these tunnels were never for luggage at all. They are the passages and roads of this deep underground base, ready to house the world's elite when disaster strikes. Then there's the incredibly creepy art all over the airport. There are giant paintings, or murals, that show terrifying scenes. One features a huge soldier in a gas mask with a sword and a gun, standing over crying women holding dead babies. Another mural shows a city in flames with sleeping children in coffins. It feels less like art and more like a prediction of a horrible future. And standing guard outside the airport is a giant 32-foot-tall blue horse with glowing red eyes. It's so scary that locals call it Blucifer. In a dark twist, the artist who made it was actually killed when a piece of the statue fell on him. The final piece of evidence is a dedication stone inside the airport. It gives credit to a group called the New World Airport Commission, but no one can prove that this group actually exists. The stone also has the symbol of the Freemasons on it, a secret society that many believe is trying to create a one-world government. When you add up all these strange things, it paints a picture of an airport that is hiding a very dark secret about the future. Theory number 4. The social credit system is about to be implemented all across the world, and we will lose our freedoms. This theory is a warning that a system of total control, known as a social credit system, is slowly being built all around us. It's not just an idea from science fiction. It's already happening in China. The system gives every citizen a score based on their behavior. If you do things the government likes, your score goes up. If you do things they don't like, your score goes down. This score then controls your life. A good score gets you better jobs and loans. A bad score can stop you from buying a plane ticket or even getting into a good school. The theory claims that China is just the first step, a giant experiment for a system that is planned for the entire world. Think about how much data is already being collected on you. Tech companies and governments track what you buy, where you go with your phone, and what you say online. This theory says that the push for things like digital IDs, getting rid of cash for digital payments, and putting facial recognition cameras everywhere are all pieces of this puzzle. They are building the tools needed to track and score everyone. Once the system is in place, freedom as we know it would be over. Imagine your score dropping because you shared the wrong political article, or because you associate with someone who has a low score. Suddenly, you might not be able to get a loan, you could lose your job, or even be locked out of your digital bank account. Since everything would be connected, they could cut you off from society with a single click. The scariest part of this theory is that people would start to police themselves. They would be too afraid to speak their minds or question authority because the risk of getting a low score would be too great. It's not a prison with bars, but a digital one where everyone is constantly being watched and judged. The goal isn't safety. The goal is total control over the population. And many who believe this theory think it's not a question of if this will happen, but when. Theory number 5. Flight MH370 got zooped through a portal. The videos are real. One of the biggest mysteries in modern history is what happened to Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. This theory offers an explanation that's out of this world. It suggests the plane didn't crash in the ocean. Instead, it accidentally flew into some kind of portal or wormhole and was transported to another place, another time, or even another dimension entirely. The main reason people believe this is because after years of searching and spending hundreds of millions of dollars, they found almost no wreckage. It's hard for people to believe that a massive Boeing 777 airplane could just completely vanish in today's world of advanced technology. The plane's last known movements were also very strange. It went off course, its communication systems were turned off, and it made sharp turns that don't make sense for a normal flight. The portal theory tries to explain all of this. It says that a rip in space and time might have opened up right in the plane's flight path. This could have been a natural event, or maybe something more sinister, like a secret military weapon being tested, or even alien technology. There are some very controversial videos that have been shared online that claim to show what happened. They appear to be from a satellite or a drone, and they show the plane being surrounded by several glowing orbs before it disappears in a bright flash of light. While many say these videos are fake, believers are convinced they are real, leaked footage. If this theory is true, it means that the 239 people on board might not be dead. They could be frozen in time or living in a completely different reality that we can't reach. The plane wasn't destroyed, it was just taken from our world. For some, this unbelievable idea makes more sense than the official story that we just simply lost a giant plane and can't find it. Theory number 6. Every night your consciousness gets uploaded to a clone in a facility where horrid things happen to you. When you wake up, they have a way to erase the memory of being there. This is one of the most terrifying theories out there. It suggests that sleep is not the peaceful rest you think it is. The theory claims that every night, your consciousness, the part of you that is your thoughts and feelings, is secretly taken from your body. It's then uploaded into a perfect clone of you, which is being held in a hidden, high-tech lab. While your real body is asleep in bed, your mind inside this clone is put through horrible experiences. It could be anything from painful medical experiments to intense psychological torture, or being forced to fight in realistic battle simulations. A secret group, maybe part of the government or a shady corporation, is doing this to collect data or to train people without them even knowing it. Your consciousness experiences all of this pain and fear as if it were real. Then, just before you're supposed to wake up, your consciousness is sent back to your real body. But before you open your eyes, a process is triggered to wipe your memory of everything that just happened. You wake up feeling maybe a little tired or confused, but you just brush it off as a bad night's sleep. The theory says that sometimes the memory wipe isn't perfect. This is what causes extremely vivid and terrifying nightmares, or that feeling of sleep paralysis where you can't move, and you feel like there's something evil in the room with you. Those aren't just dreams, they are fragments of the real trauma your mind went through during the night. And this happens every single night. A secret, torturous life that you live but can never remember. Theory number 7. That billionaires had secret meetings and determined that the Earth is doomed. And so they gather so much wealth to live as lavishly as they can with the remaining resources before potential colonization of other planets becomes viable, if at all. This theory suggests that the richest people in the world have secretly come to a dark conclusion. Using their access to the best scientific data and predictive models, they've figured out that the Earth is past the point of no return. They believe a total collapse of society is coming soon, whether it's from climate change, war, or something else. But instead of using their incredible wealth to try and save the planet, they've decided to do the opposite. They've made a pact to just enjoy the time that's left, living in extreme luxury while secretly preparing their own escape. The plan is to build high-tech lifeboats for themselves and their families, leaving the other 8 billion people on the planet to deal with the chaos. We can already see hints of this happening. Billionaires are buying up huge areas of remote land, like in New Zealand or in the American Midwest, and building massive, self-sufficient underground bunkers. These aren't just vacation homes, they are survival compounds. The billionaire space race is another big part of this theory. It claims that when you see people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos building rockets, it's not just for science or adventure, it's a competition to see who can build the first escape vehicle off-planet. They are trying to get to Mars, or build private space stations, so they have a place to go when Earth becomes unlivable. They know this is a long shot, so in the meantime, they are just focused on living it up. They see the rest of humanity as a problem, using up the resources that they want for themselves. So while we worry about everyday problems, they are quietly building their arks, and they have no intention of saving anyone but themselves. Theory number 8. The food consumed in the United States is a huge part of the mental illness going on today. This theory claims that the sharp rise in mental health problems like anxiety and depression isn't just a social issue, it's a physical one, caused by the food we eat every day. The focus is on all the chemicals, preservatives, and artificial ingredients that are packed into modern processed foods. The theory suggests these aren't just making us physically unhealthy, they are actively changing our brain chemistry. Things like artificial colors, high fructose corn syrup, processed seed oils, and artificial sweeteners are all pointed to as major culprits. Over time, eating these things is believed to damage our brains, mess with our hormones, and make people more prone to mood swings, anger, and sadness. Processed food is a huge target of this theory. It claims these foods are designed to be addictive. Food companies know that these ingredients make people feel foggy and unwell, but they keep using them because it keeps people hooked on their products, which means more profit. The theory also looks at the chemicals used in farming. Pesticides sprayed on fruits and vegetables don't always wash off completely and can build up in our bodies over the years, affecting our brains and nervous systems. There's also concern about how meat and dairy animals are raised. Many are given growth hormones and antibiotics, and when we eat meat or drink milk from these animals, those substances can end up in our bodies. The theory argues that because so many people in America eat this kind of food every single day, this constant exposure is slowly breaking down our mental health, making society more tired, confused, and unstable. Theory number 9. Flight 93 was shot out of the sky. They knew the other plane was on a suicide mission to hit a target, so they shot it down and told everyone that it was a passenger uprising. The official story of Flight 93 on September 11th is that the passengers on the plane fought back against the hijackers, causing the plane to crash into a field in Pennsylvania. It's a story of incredible heroism, but this theory claims that's not the whole truth. It suggests that the US government made the unthinkable decision to have the plane shot down by a military jet. According to this theory, the government knew the plane was hijacked and was headed straight for a major target in Washington, D.C., like the White House or the Capitol building. They had minutes to make a choice, and they knew they couldn't risk it hitting its target. So they made the call to shoot it down, killing everyone on board to prevent an even bigger disaster. People who believe this point to a few key things. First, the debris from the crash was found scattered over a huge area, some of it miles away from the main crash site. They say this looks more like what happens when a plane explodes in the air, not when it crashes into the ground. There were also people on the ground that day who reported seeing a small, white military-style jet flying very close to Flight 93 right before it crashed. Some even said they heard a loud noise like a missile. So why would the government lie about it? The theory says it's because on a day that was already so full of horror, telling the American people that the government had to kill its own citizens would have been too much to handle. So instead, they focused on the story of the heroic passengers. It gave the country something to feel proud of in a moment of fear and sadness, and it covered up a terrible and controversial decision. Theory number 10. The US government is slowly preparing the public for the truth that aliens are real. They're already here, in our skies, beneath the oceans, and hidden among us. The main reason the government has kept it secret for so long isn't fear or panic, but because revealing it would expose something much deeper about who we really are. This theory claims the US government is slowly preparing us for the biggest announcement in human history, that aliens are real, and they've been here for a very, very long time. The recent videos and reports about UFOs or UAPs aren't leaks. They are part of a controlled plan to slowly introduce the idea to the public so that people don't panic. The theory says these aliens aren't just visitors. They are living here on Earth, hidden in places we can't easily get to, like deep under the oceans or in secret underground bases. But the most shocking part of the theory is why this has been kept secret for so long. It's not just about technology or preventing fear. It's because the full truth would change everything we believe about ourselves, our history, and our religions. The theory goes on to say that these aliens are responsible for creating us. The idea is that thousands of years ago, they came to Earth and manipulated the DNA of early humans, guiding our evolution and turning us into the intelligent beings we are today. In a sense, they are our creators. This connects directly to religion. The theory says that many ancient religious stories are actually just records of early humans interacting with these advanced beings. When ancient people saw these aliens with their incredible technology, flying ships, and powerful abilities, they didn't understand what they were seeing, so they called them gods. This is where the stories of the Greek and Roman gods, and even some stories in the Bible, are said to come from. They weren't myths. They were just descriptions of aliens, written by people who had no other way to explain them. The government knows that revealing this truth would cause every major religion on Earth to collapse overnight and would change our understanding of who and what we are. That's why they are doing it so slowly, drip by drip, to get us used to the idea before they drop the final bombshell. Theory number 11. That the CIA secretly eliminates innocent people, including Americans it's supposed to protect to get what it wants. The people behind it believe these actions are justified and claim they're doing it for the greater good. This theory claims that the CIA operates with a secret, unwritten rule. If someone becomes a threat to a major mission or a national secret, they can be quietly removed, permanently. This includes American citizens. These are not seen as murders by the agents who carry them out. They are seen as necessary actions taken for the greater good of the country. The CIA's official job is to gather information on foreign threats. But this theory argues that they sometimes decide that the biggest threat is one of their own citizens. This could be a journalist who is about to publish a story exposing a secret operation, a whistleblower with proof of illegal activity, or even a political activist who is becoming too influential. The theory says that instead of just arresting them, the CIA sometimes chooses to make them disappear. These deaths are always made to look like an accident, a car crash on a lonely road, a sudden suicide that shocks friends and family, or a heart attack that seems to come out of nowhere. The agency is believed to have access to poisons that are impossible to trace, and ways to cause accidents that leave no evidence of foul play. The idea is that these agents believe they are protecting the country by doing these terrible things that nobody else is willing to do. They see themselves as patriots, making hard choices to keep the nation safe. According to this theory, the CIA is not just a spy agency. It's a hidden force that acts as judge, jury, and executioner, shaping events from the shadows by getting rid of anyone who stands in their way.